We in the valley where the shadow is deep, and let his presence take over my flesh when he speak. See, these blessings hit different when the mountain is steep, cause when you made it from the bottom, you can actually preach. Man, we was roaming through Romans like we was homeless, knowing if we obey, you see where we going. Hold up, I'm just giving you sermons you can attach to. Welcome to Hidden Chapel. Ladies and gentlemen, to all of my viewers and listeners, to all of the beautiful people, I would like to welcome you to episode 2 of the Hidden Chapel podcast. I'm your host, Shane Thomas, and guess what, y'all? It's the holiday season. Oh, I almost got it. I came in hot. That one hurt a little bit. I'm not gonna lie. That hurt, but it's the holiday season, y'all. At the time of this video and this audio being released, Thanksgiving is a few days away. So that means we are about to be around family. We are about to be around friends, loved ones, all that good stuff. So God has compelled me to talk about this message and give this message to you guys during this time. I personally feel like it's fitting. I've been there. I've done this. So I definitely feel like, it's on my spirit to really help a lot of you guys going through this time. Because the holiday season, to be honest with you, it's a bittersweet time for a lot of people. A lot of people, are less fortunate and don't have family, friends, or even loved ones that they can, spend this time with. So, yeah, so to all those people, again, just make sure if you know anybody that's going through those type of situations alone, make sure you just bring them in, man. Don't be one of those people that just sits and doesn't do anything about it. Actually bring some people in, man, and learn their stories and be able to just help them out. God says a lot of great conversations happen around the table, so. Just help some people out, man. And yeah, so I know you guys have a lot of thoughts maybe by seeing the title of this. But again, I feel like it's fitting for this time, and you'll see why in a second. But again, at the end of this episode, I want you guys to be able to take something away from this episode and apply it to yourself and pass it on to other people as well. Okay, so that is my ultimate goal by the end of this episode. Before I get into anything, though, I do have a special announcement to make because it's the holiday season. Special announcement. All right, I'm done being goofy. I promise. I'm done. But as I said in episode 1, 2 things. God has a way of talking to me. He has a way of pushing me in a direction to where I just have to go. I don't have to ask questions. I don't got to do nothing. He just pushes me and boom, I'm going there. In episode 1, I did say that the clothing brand was releasing January 1st of 2024, but because it's the holiday season and God has talked to me and I felt compelled to, do it as well. The clothing brand will be releasing December 1st. Okay. So thehiddenchapel.com, the clothing brand will be releasing December 1st. Listen, to all of my viewers, we're going into this new season of life unashamed of who we are and things of that nature. If you are unashamed of wearing your faith and your beliefs that is within your hidden chapel on your sleeve, I promise you this clothing brand is the one for you. Again, this clothing brand is going to separate itself from other Christian faith-based clothing brands. I promise you. But this is the season of being unashamed. So if you are unashamed of who you are, what you're about, what you believe in, all of that good stuff, the Hidden Chapel is for you. So again, December 1st, thehiddenchapel.com, link down below, all that good stuff. And yeah, man, I'm super excited. I'm super excited when it comes to the clothing brand. You guys know how invested I am with this, and I'm just excited to be able to get this out to you guys at an earlier time now at this point. And it's fitting. It's the holiday season. So why not, wear your faith during the holiday season, instead of having to wait to the new year. A lot of people like to say, oh, new year, new me. No. We're going to start this now. Like, that's what we're going to do. So, but yeah, man, without further ado, again, you guys know I got my trusty notes here. I'm gonna try to follow this as best as possible, but if God takes over, he's gonna take over. So the title of this episode, Forgive Your Trauma. Again, I know you guys have a lot of questions. You guys have a lot of thoughts in your minds in regards to the title. So before I get into the meat and potatoes of it, I want to Google the definition of trauma. So therefore, we have that because a lot of people don't necessarily really know like the definition of trauma. They just say it and they're not really like understanding it, or they feel like it's a facade, or people are just going through things just to go through them and X, Y, and Z. So trauma, the definition for it is a deeply distressing or disturbing experience. How many of us have dealt with that? Raise your hands. If your hand's not up, the devil's a lie. But okay, God, thank you, God, because you just gave me my segue into this. All right, especially with this being the holiday season at that, right? I got a question for you guys, and I want you guys to answer this question as honest as possible. How many of us are about to? And this is so fitting too, because Thanksgiving is literally a few days away. So I'll use that. Thank you, God, again. How many of us are about to sit down at the Thanksgiving table and be fake? Oh, it gets quiet when facts get thrown around. So I'm gonna ask it again. How many of us are about to sit down at that dinner table on Thanksgiving fake? Now I know it's somebody out there, Macho Man Randy Savage, talking about something. I ain't fake. I'm a real one. I'm a real one. Nah, you fake, bro. Here's how I know you fake. Cause you about to sit down at that dinner table. You about to sit next to somebody that caused a lot of trauma to you, and it not be spoken about whatsoever, or it not be acknowledged. I promise you. You're about to sit down at that table and somebody has done something to you that has caused damage to you or has caused trauma to you. And you about to just be fake and just let it rock. I promise you. I promise you. So my goal with this, I want to change that narrative. Okay? I don't want us to be fake at the table anymore. You know? I want us to be able to stand up and say, can we talk about this? Can we be honest? Can we talk? Because this conversation was needed for months and years and a long period of time, you know. And again, I want to change that. I don't want us to be fake at the table anymore. I want us to be able to address our traumas and damages that we've been through. Because let's face it, we've all have been damaged and have been and has been through some sort of traumatic experience in our life. If you say you haven't, the devil's a lie. I promise you. But we're going to get into it. We're going to get into some of these steps that I personally have taken and that I personally feel like can push you in the right direction, or that no, let me not say me push you in the direction. God will push you. God will push your trauma. He will push your trauma to the side and will push you towards your purpose. I'll say that. So we're gonna start this off by, I got a few steps that again, that I've personally taken myself. So again, I want you guys to take notes. Now, I will say I'm gonna be extremely vulnerable. This will be emotional. I'm not gonna cry. I'm just tell you guys that now. But it's everything. Like, I will be reliving some of these emotions. So if you are going through any of these things, or have dealt with anything similar, again, I want you guys to just be in a safe place. Put yourself in a safe place, whether that's you sitting in your room, or you just going to your safe place per se. And again, I want you guys to take notes, and by the end of this, I want you guys to be able to apply it to yourself and pass it on to others. So I'll say the first step in healing your trauma and pushing yourself to your purpose is to acknowledge that you are damaged. A lot of us, and especially this generation, we like to sweep a lot of things under the rug. We like to act like nothing happened. We like to, um, just brush things off per se. But you have to acknowledge that you are damaged in some sort of way, or have dealt with some sort of trauma. And let me say this too. The damage might not be your fault, but it is your responsibility. Let me say that again for you. The damage may not be your fault, but it is now your responsibility. Meaning you need to take accountability and you need to acknowledge that you are damaged and that you have been through some sort of trauma. Okay. That's number one. Then this one is extremely, extremely important because after you acknowledge it, you got to get to the root of where that trauma and damage came from. You have to get to the root of that. So a lot of us and a lot of people, they bury their traumas so deep that they lie to themselves. They be fake to themselves sometimes, to where they, again, act like it never happened, or they try to just disregard it. But then here's an example of if someone buried something. So say this person buried, their traumas and their damage so deep, right? But then they get around certain people to where they feel tension or they feel uneasy when they're around a specific person or something like that, and they don't know why. That's because they've buried it so deep that they don't know where that root has came from. So that, again, acknowledging, okay, I'm feeling something when this person's around, you know. And some of you know, but if you buried it to where you don't believe that something happened even though it did, um you got to get to the root of that. You got to dig deep. So I'll give you guys a backstory or I'll give you guys my testimony in regards to this topic. So I'll say I'll say trauma for me personally started around the age of 5. Okay. At the age of 5, I grew up in I grew up in a split household. I was with my dad on the weekdays, I was with my mom on the weekends. So I spent majority of the time obviously with my dad. Um and there was a time when I was 5 years old that what 5-year-old doesn't do, anything wrong. You know, 5-year-olds make mistakes just like any other kid or adult makes mistakes, right? Excuse me. And there was a time that, I did something that I wasn't supposed to be doing, and I was physically abused by my dad. My dad punched me in the face, and I live with a permanent mark on my lip to this day. And I'll be honest, it wasn't until my later years of me processing my anger per se that I knew my trauma started from that moment. But what was difficult for me was between from that moment until when my next traumatic experience happened at the age of 9. So between the years of 6, 7, and 8 was such a blur to me, and I knew it all came from that traumatic experience. And I remember at that point I was afraid of my dad at that point. Like I feared him. So it was to the point where I didn't want to do nothing wrong whatsoever. Like I've had so many temptations as a kid, obviously as a kid, staying out before, the street lights come on, or, you know, taking something without asking in the house or something like that, not me. At that point, not me. You would have thought I was in a military household, and granted I wasn't, but you would think I was in a military household. Yes, sir. No, ma'am, X, Y, and Z. around that time. But like I said again, 6, 7, and 8, that was such a blur for me. I don't remember anything from that. So I feel like there was a lot of like mental damage that was done. And also physical and emotional damage too that was done just off of that one punch that I had. And it was to the point now, looking back at it even further, to this day, you know, I look at myself every day in the mirror and I see this mark on my lip and I just think to myself like, Shane, ever since that moment, like this is the person you've become. You know what I mean? And then fast forwarding to again my next traumatic experience when I was 9. Um this was something I had to kind of I had to again get to the bottom root of this one because I never really I don't think I've really I processed this properly. But um at the age of 9, my dad paid a female to have sex with me. I don't know why my dad did that. I have no clue. Um and when I say I don't I haven't like fully processed it is because I looking back at it I knew it was wrong, but I don't know what I was feeling at that time. If that makes sense. Like I don't I can't like if someone was to ask me how I felt in that time, I couldn't tell you. Like I couldn't tell you like, oh, I knew that was wrong, or give you the hood version and be like, oh, I smashed an older person at the age of 9 years old. Like I can't give you that story. I know when I started getting into relationships as I was older, and I would tell these people, that like if the question would come about like, oh, when did you lose your virginity? And I would say I lost my virginity at the age of 9. They would look at me like I was crazy. But then I would tell them the story and they're like, oh, that's bad. That's horrible. That's horrible. But but yeah, like I haven't I wouldn't be able to tell you like, what I felt in that moment. And I think it's because from that damage from when I was 5 years old, I wasn't fully there. But, then at the age of 13, witnessing death for the first time, and then seeing my dad and my stepmom split, and then me being forced to pretty much move with my biological mom at that point. um then I started dealing with neglect at that point. So now it was the emotional trauma at that point. My stepmom was the one nurturer and one loving person that I went to for love. You know what I mean? I'll be honest with you. Like I can maybe count on one hand how many times I've heard my mom tell me she loves me. Like growing up in that time period. Um. So yeah, I went into a state to where a lot of anger ensued, which that came from my dad hitting me and things of that nature, and then me not getting the love that every child needs. I went from that to where anger started showing. Like I can remember literally the first day of school when I moved with my mom. uh I got into a fight literally the first day, got suspended for 3 days, and then came back and fought again. Like, so literally, like from eighth grade all the way to maybe I'll say midway through my freshman year, that's all I did was realistically fight, on the verge of being expelled from how much I was fighting and things of that nature. But, like I said, looking back at it now, like I'm starting to see why I was so angry and where these things were coming from. And it came from, those traumatic experiences. And even from like the neglect side from my mom, like, and not hearing the I love yous and understanding how important that is. Like me being a parent now, that's when that resonated with me. Like now that I'm a parent, um, just the importance of telling your kids that you love them, and then hearing that back from my kids. I always I won't say I felt away, but there was always something that was happening when I heard it back from them, and I never understood that. So I had to dig deep with that to understand, like, oh, since I never heard that, you know, um, that's where that feeling is coming from, because I'm actually hearing it back from now a child of mine that I see my face through them. So it's almost like I'm from the it's from the opposite perspective. So now I can start to ask the questions. So, and I've had conversations with my mom about it, and to this day, me and my mom have a great relationship now. Um, she does tell me she loves me more. She has taken accountability on her end and stuff like that. And most importantly, tying in with the title of this episode, I forgave her. Forgiveness is necessary when it comes to trauma, especially because, again, like, it may not be your fault, but it's your responsibility. So forgive yourself too, because the things that you're going through, you're also passing on to other people as well. You know what I mean? Like, with my dad punching me again, like, I was never a fighter like that. Like, but, you know, I forgive myself. I forgive the people that I fought and things of that nature. And yeah, because it all ensued from that. Like, what you don't deal with gets transferred on to other people, and that's not the right way to go about it. So, in regards to my dad, like, I've definitely talked to my dad about, these situations that, he's put me through, and trauma and damage that he's caused to me. And, I won't say that we're in the best state, but, at the end of the day, it's still my dad, and I forgive him for it. So, yeah, it's important to get to the root of those things, and dealing with it again. And most importantly, and this is my next point that I want to get to, it's important to have those people to talk to. Okay? Um Counseling is necessary. Everyone should have that one person that they can talk to, that one group of people that they can talk to, okay? The excuse me, the Bible even says, like, there's wisdom in the multitude of counseling. All right. Like, prime example, I'll give you some Bible verses. Proverbs 12:15. The way of a fool is right in his own eyes, but a wise man is he who listens. And then Proverbs 19:20-21. Like, listen to counsel and accept discipline, that you may be wise the rest of your days. Many plans are in a man's heart, but the counsel of the Lord will stand. So, meaning, like, there's so much importance in counseling, or just having that person that you can confide in and talk to, or that group of people that you can do that with. Like, and I'll be honest with you, like, I'll say in 20 I want to say it was either 2015 or 2016, I tried therapy for the first time. All right. I knew there was so many things going wrong with me mentally and emotionally, to where, I started doing research and things of that nature. And therapy was talked about a lot. So I said, you know what, let me try it. And I'll be honest with you, I had a bad first experience with therapy. I thought, the therapist that I had, I thought, they were just telling me things that I wanted to hear, and things of that nature. So I was against it. I was against therapy for years. But by the grace of God, I've always had a group of friends, and I've always had, my wife, like, later on, that I could talk to about these things, and, you know, not be judged, have somebody that's actually listening, somebody that's actually holding me accountable for my actions too, in regards to my actions that come from the trauma. You know what I mean? So it's extremely, extremely, extremely important to counsel, to have counseling. Like, it's super, super, super important. And lastly, on my notes, because we're towards the end, I ain't gonna hold you guys too long. But my last note: trust God, which this should be the first, but I'm putting this last because a lot of people, it's a rinse and repeat when it comes to this. Okay, so trust God will turn it around for you, and turn your trauma to your purpose. Turn it into your purpose. God will literally heal you. Listen, our bodies were not designed to deal with the amount of stress and trauma that we go through on a day-to-day basis. Where our bodies are not capable of holding those things in. So, to those people that bottle that stuff up, there's only going to be two outcomes. It's either going to come out in a positive effect, which is, again, talking about it, counseling, X, Y, and Z, or it's going to come out in a negative manner, like how I was, fighting constantly, arguing constantly, being distant from people because of the neglect, being antisocial, being just not being how God intended me to be. You know, God will take those things, take your trauma and your damage to God. God will fix that. God is more than capable of handling those things. All right. You guys can look in the Bible and see how many stories there are of God taking people's traumas. Every person that's in the Bible was damaged or was not perfect in any way, shape, or form. Not one person in the Bible. But God has taken those things and pushed them into the purpose that was intended for them. And the same for you. The same for you. These people were people as well. These people that are in the Bible that these stories are about, they were people just like me and you. God will take that trauma and push you into your purpose and push you into the right direction. So again, accountability, acknowledgement, getting to the root, counseling, and trusting God. That is the way you heal your trauma and your damage. So I want you guys, again, if you guys are hearing this on Thanksgiving, I want you guys to actually sit down at that table and say, listen, let's be honest. Let's talk about these things. Talk about it. If you know somebody that's going through trauma or is going through any type of damage, share this with them or give them the same steps that you got as well. All right? That is my goal in all of this. If you guys enjoyed this episode, make sure you guys hit the like button. Leave a comment down below how you guys feel about this episode, how you guys feel about everything. And again, if you want to, this is a safe place. If you guys want to express your traumas and your problems, this is a safe space. Please do so down below in the comment section. I'll say a prayer for you and everything. Like, I'm here to help at the end of the day. I want to be able to help everybody that is under the sound of my voice, that is seeing me. I want to be able to help you guys. Okay. So if this message is helping you, again, hit the like button, comment down below or whatever. Again, I will sincerely pray for you guys. Prayer is big. You guys know I'm extremely big on prayer. And subscribe if you guys want more of these episodes, man. And I greatly appreciate all of you guys tuning in. I love you guys so much. Hope all of you guys have a safe and blessed holiday. I will see you guys on the next episode. And I'm out. Peace.
We in the valley where the shadow is deep, and let his presence take over my flesh when he speak. See, these blessings hit different when the mountain is steep, cause when you made it from the bottom, you can actually preach. Man, we was roaming through Romans like we was homeless, knowing if we obey, you see where we going. Hold up, I'm just giving you sermons you can attach to. Welcome to Hidden Chapel.